What's up guys, it's Sean here again with Lightning Performance, and today we are finally getting to the rust on this 2005 Jetta that I am working on right now. As you can tell, this fender has rusted through all the way. It's completely done. It's gone. So I have new fenders coming for that. But the rust has spread onto down here a little bit. So I'm going to get this all sanded up and cleaned up so that way I can repair this as well, because I don't want the rust down here. So I got this video idea from this other YouTuber called Chris Fix. I'm sure you know of him. He basically did a tutorial on how to fix the rust, so I'm going to be using what he showed me to do the rust, to show you that what he's doing also is possible for you to do at home. So here's some of the materials that we're going to be using. You're gonna need some spreaders. If it's bad enough, you might need a body patch, some sandpaper, some Bondo, and then some paint, a primer and paint. So first things first, I'm going to be removing these fenders right here since they are no longer good. So I'm gonna remove these fenders and then get this wheel liner that's underneath the fenders out so that we can have plenty of access to this area right here. All right, so I'm gonna need to hit these 3 bolts or 4 bolts up here on the top of the fender. That way I can get this, get these top bolts off first. All right, so now that I got these 4 bolts out, I'm gonna go ahead and come under here and remove these bolts out from under there. So remove the fender liner, because I need to take the fender liner out to get to the bolts that bolt the fender and the bumper together. So these are gonna be some Torx bits, as you can see. All right, so now that you got the fender liner unbolted and pulled all the little nuts or screws or whatever you have in there. Sometimes you have like push pins. In this case, I have just little screws. So once you have it all undone, you can start to just wiggle it out. As you can tell, a bunch of rust fell down there, so this is horrible. So just fender liner pops right out. So got that. Just go ahead and set that to the side. So now we have access to more of the fender. We can see what other bolts will need to be removed. Okay, so from what I've seen, I'm going to need to remove this from bumper to get to the fenders off. So I guess we're gonna go ahead and start to do that. Okay, so to remove the bumper, you're gonna go ahead and pop these clips out. There's one tab at the bottom, a tab at the top. So pop that side out, pop this side out, and then there's a little tab in here for this pull thing, to like this hood release. There's a little clip. So there's a little clip right here that you're gonna lift up, and then this piece will slide off of it. So then these pops out with tabs. So then you can pop this grill out. Next, we're gonna remove these bolts right here, just along the bumper. All right, so I got all these bolts removed out of the top of this bumper here. So the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna come down here and you are gonna take this piece out right here. So I think all you gotta do is just give it a little pull. Just be careful with it though, not to break it. So there's a little space up under here I'm assuming to grab, or for a tow hook. All right, so it just pops right out. And then you're gonna have a bolt right in here, and then likewise on the other side. All right, so now we have the fender off, and you can see this is the affected area. It's down here, it's rusted pretty bad back here. The top coat of this right here is filthy. See if I can get some, brush that off a little bit. So we're gonna want to sand this down, and as much of this underside and the side right here, then get in here as best as we can. We're gonna want to sand as much rust as we can off of this. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I couldn't get all the rust off. I got as much of it as I could off. The metal has become very like weak and thin. It's really pliable, but that's okay because we're gonna build it up some right now. So I blended it into the fender, got at least all around the area of rust. It's just here, and it's very thin. There is not very much rust on it. It's a very thin layer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna spray basically it's like a rust stopper, and what that's gonna do is it's gonna bond with the rust and it's gonna stop the rust from growing. I'm going to block off the surrounding area so I don't get overspray on it. All I really have is shop towels right now, but it's okay, this will work. Alright, so now that I have it for the most part blocked off, I'm gonna get my rust stopper or neutralizer. This is what it looks like right here, and I'm going to spray the area down just thoroughly. And you're gonna want to be wearing a mask for this because I wouldn't want these chemicals in my lungs, as well as the dust from the rust, and also the stuff that smells terrible. So make sure you're in a well ventilated area. So you're just gonna let this dry, and then once it's dry, we're gonna get to the next step. So now that this is dried, it is dry now. To prevent rusting from rusting again back here, this is gonna be inside the fender, so it's not gonna be visible. So I'm going to block this off and get this taped off, and then I'm going to use some undercoat right here. I'm gonna use some undercoat. It's basically like bed liner, and I'm gonna spray this inside area in here. It won't get tipped away again and continue to rust. I have the area all coated up. There's no exposed rust or anything. So I have it all coated up. So now I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'm going to remove this tape, and then I'm gonna let it dry. So now I have the body patch put in there. So I have for this small rust spot, and then the holes down here are also filled in. So our next step, we're gonna use some Bondo like fiberglass filler. We're gonna get this out onto this sheet right here, and we're gonna get it mixed up with some hardener. And what this is just some parchment paper, so it doesn't sink into the cardboard, so it doesn't get absorbed. So we're gonna go ahead and do that right now. All right, so now that I got the Bondo fiberglass body filler, you're gonna want to get it in a small circle, and so we can mix it up with this cream hardener. And you're gonna want to use gloves for this because this does have fiberglass in it, and you don't want to get that on your skin. So you want to knead this up and get this all mixed up before you put it in, because you don't want it all clumpy or anything. You want this well mixed before you put this into the Bondo. I'm just gonna get some of the hardener and do a nice little strand across. Boom, that's enough right there. All right, so now we're just gonna get this all mixed up, and you want to make sure you see no red. You don't want to see two different colors. You're gonna want to get this all one color. It's gonna be a nice dark color. You gotta somewhat be quick with this because you don't want it to dry on you. It dries in about 5 minutes. So when you get it, spread it out. And I'm not the best at this. I am not very skilled at this. This is on my first time doing it, but I've seen a few videos, so we'll see if I'm doing it right. Now we're just gonna scoop a little bit of it up. We're gonna come over here to the area, and you're gonna want to press it as hard as you can into all the cracks and crevices. Press it deep in there. You want it to be nice in there, packed nice and tightly. Just gonna cut this real nice. Get all up in there real tight, and just gonna build the layers up real slowly. So now that this has dried, this fiberglass reinforced Bondo, you're gonna take some fresh 40 grit sandpaper, and you're just gonna go over this and just get this sanded down. Just get this as smooth as you can. Also, make sure you wear gloves for this, because this is fiberglass, and the glass will get all over your hands, and it'll just feel, you'll be scratching all night. Alright, so now I got it all sanded down. This is about as good as I need it to be. It's smooth enough for the area. We are now at the next stage. Of the repair, and this is the body filler we're gonna use, like professional gold bodybuilder. That's what I'm using at least. So that's what I'm using. This is like a final coat, basically, or a final filler. This one you're gonna get down to real smooth. I just put this coat of Bondo on, this last coat, and I built it up pretty thick. Not too crazy thick. I just got it as smooth as I could. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and let this dry now. And then once this dries, you're gonna hit it with some, this is 80 grit. You're gonna get this as smooth as you can with 80 grit. We're gonna go ahead and sand this down. Now that it's dry, we're gonna sand this down with some 80 grit sandpaper. And then after that, we're gonna use some spot putty to fill in all the small divots and like small little like holes and stuff like that, like pinholes, real small stuff. And then after that, it's gonna be ready for primer. So now I got done sanding this part down, and for the most part it's very smooth. It feels real light. I can't tell a difference in the transition to the paint, so it feels really good. Next thing I'm gonna do after I clean it, I'm gonna clean this down again, wipe it down because there's a lot of dust everywhere, and then I'm going to fill it in with some glazing or spot putty, just to fill in all the small crevices and small very holes that I can't really fill. Alright, so now that this putty's dried, we're gonna go ahead and sand this down and get this ready for some primer up next. As it's coming next, this is real smooth. We're gonna sand this down a little bit better. Alright, so it's now been about a week since I have done this, and I have just been waiting for my paint to get in. So I got this from ERA Paints. It's the stock color. So I got a color match for this car. If that's the paint code right there, LA7W. All right, so what I'm going to be doing now, I'm just going to just go ahead and spray this with base coat, and then I'm going to clear coat it just to get it all blended in. And I know it isn't perfect. It isn't perfect. This is my first time ever doing body work ever, but the whole purpose of this was just to repair the rust. It's not going in a car show. It's not like for looking for the best looks. It's simply just to repair the rust, and I have done that. So now I am going to get this painted, but first I need to clean this up. So we're gonna go ahead and get this cleaned up so we can get ready for paint. Alright, so I got this all taped up and I'm masked off. Now I'm going to put my prep spray on there and get it all cleaned up. It's a grease and wax remover to get this area as clean as I possibly can, and then it'll be ready for paint. Got that all cleaned up now, so now it's ready for some base coat. So you're gonna want to get it all shaken up, shake it up as best as you can. You're gonna want to lay nice light coats for your first coat. So we got that done. We are now ready for a second coat. Alright, so that came out so good. You can see the color is very similar. We have one more coat to do, and then we're gonna go ahead and do our clear coat. It's time for our clear coat. So this is gonna be our clear coat. We're gonna put 2 to 3 coats of this on over this. So, and just make sure, just like the base coat, you're gonna want to do light coats. All right, so this is what we have now. It is looking so much better. You can see the color in there. I kind of faded this line out here in this body panel because I'm not skilled enough to keep that line in there, but it's not such a big deal. The paint matches, and in my opinion, once it dries up, we're gonna get it looking good. am done painting the fenders. I got them all painted up. I made like a little paint booth over here in that area of my apartment. I'm not sure how safe that is, but I wore a mask, so it should be good. The fenders look great. They're still gonna need to be buffed and polished and probably wet sanded as well, but the painting process is done. So I'm gonna take them downstairs, put them on the car, and then we're gonna see how it looks. I got the new fenders down here compared to the old ones, and as you can tell, this one has like a slightly bluish tint to it. So hopefully when I buff and polish the car, it'll blend some of that out, or at least blend it in with the rest of the car better. So we're gonna go ahead and see how this looks. We're gonna go ahead and install it right now. So I got the fenders all put on. It's like a few weeks later. I didn't end up filming an outro for this video, but the fenders came out great, and I'm gonna show you guys that in the next video, because I have something coming up for y'all. I have a detailing video coming up next where I'm going to detail the whole car, and it is currently raining right now, so I'll probably do that in a few days, but there's a Jetta down there right now. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. I'm just trying to show you guys something that anybody can do, really. I'm not experienced at all in body work or anything like that, so I hope, and it came out decent for my first time ever, so I'm proud of it. I like what I did. I'm happy with what I did. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.